So now the explanation for any person at any number. It's basically an any card at any number type of routine, but with a more personal feeling. So the spectator is a little more interested because it's not mainly an effect that really interests common people. So let's see how it works. So first, there is a little bit of dual reality in this effect, but you don't need to use a dual reality. It still works perfectly if you break it or if you don't use it. And basically on your card, you will write, on this little card, you will write the name of the person, also write down a playing card that will represent this person in the experiment. You then, underneath give an example, you write example, Alex / 10 of hearts. So basically, the person has all the information needed, and they also have an example, so they don't need to ask you a question when you give them the card to write on. So what you will do is talk to them like you will see in the routine about all the probability, the people you meet in your life. See the script while watching the routine. And you ask them to write down the name of a person so they can really connect to that person and the image that represents this person in their mind. So basically you're doing a double talk here by asking them to write the name and to also follow what is written on the card, to also write a playing card that will represent them. That will be the image that represents them when you're talking to them. So you ask them to write. We will not do it. Earlier, Juliette in the routine wrote Sam and 6 of spades. Okay, so you put the card inside the wallet, and you put it back inside your pocket, and you make the pick at this moment. What a good thing to do is to put it upside down this way. If it has written on this side, you see it has written like that. You take it, turn it around, and put it like this. So it will be really easy to see it directly in the good direction here when you open. You see, Sam, 6 of spades. And I put it in my pocket. You've picked the information. You know the name and the card. People don't know the card. It's time for you to introduce the card. At that moment, nobody knows that she's thinking of a card, okay? Only the person knows that. So basically, you're gonna search for the person's card. I know it's the 6 of spades, and I will talk about each card representing a person in this experiment. I'm gonna look for a card, I see it's here. I'm just gonna bring it to the bottom by simply cutting the deck like that. So the card, I'm looking for it on the bottom. And you can use any move you like. You can use more fancy moves, more complicated moves. As long as you keep the card, you bring the card to the bottom of the deck. At this time you say, so I need the person you're thinking of to be represented by an image in the deck back to one of the card. Okay, so you will think really hard of a card that represents the person. At this moment, for her, I'm just asking her to think again about the card she wrote earlier on the paper. For everyone in the audience, she's starting to think at that moment of card. She doesn't say it out loud, she says think of it. You can mix the card as much as you want, as long as you keep the card on the bottom. You can use whatever move you like, whatever shuffle and mixes, everything you like, as long as the card is on the bottom. You explain that you will deal the card one by one while she tells her story about the person she met. And you will stop at the end of the story. So you deal, she stops whenever she likes. So it's important that when you deal the card, you make a little bit of a mess, okay? Don't be straight like that. You need a little bit of a mess, it will cover a bit what you will do next. So imagine you dealt the card like that, etc., etc. So here, the card is on the bottom. And I will buckle this card when she stops. Okay, so your story is finished. When I ask if the story is finished, I buckle the card and take a break underneath. And I give me your hand, and by this move, bring your hand, I go to the end, I cover, it covers, this big move covers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this card on the pile of cards I've dealt. So I drop it and put the cards in her hand. So really don't worry, because it's really a small move, and don't go too high. Just touching down and going up and dropping the card. The mess helps you to cover that, because if the cards are all straight and when you drop the card it goes like that, everybody will see that something is wrong. If you have a little bit of a mess by the deal you've made, and you have one card like that, it looks clean, okay? So you tell her all this card that you have in your hand is the weight of all the people you will meet later in your life. Here is the card you stop on your story. Just put it aside. And here are all the person you met before. Maybe some are relevant, maybe some are not, etc., etc. You then ask the person to think of the name of the person and do whatever type of revelation you like. Way to get the information you like your mind reading or getting small moves in her throat, things like that, to guess what she's thinking or saying in her head out loud, not out loud, but in her mind, and then use the card to write the name on. So you say, I think I have an ID. You write the name. Earlier it was Sam. I wrote Sam. It was the name you picked, of course, earlier. And then you recap all the possibilities you thought. You remember the person you met that was 0.000001% possibility of meeting her, probabilities of meeting her in your life, him or her in your life. For the first time, give us the name of the person and the card you just chose to represent.
Sam 6 of spades.
Okay, so Sam 6 of spades. You stopped on that card, 001%, Sam 6 of spades. And you can finish by the small line about, I hope that what we created here will bring me in the 0.00001% of person in your life.
Of course.
Okay, so yeah, it was basically the tutorial for any person at any number.
Yes.